yesterday, and I
Okay.
watched the remake today.
I watched the remake today. That's what
Yeah,
I've done as well. Those are the two
yeah,
that I've watched. Even
yeah,
though there's technically 5/6
yeah.
in
Like
the
I've
franchise.
only
Yeah.
I've seen the original,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've seen the remake, and then there was a
Mm-hmm.
sequel to the remake, and that was fucking
Yes.
dog shit. That was
Wes
terrible.
Wes Craven helped write that, I
Oh my
discovered.
God.
Yeah, part two. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a bit shameful because it is a dog shit film.
Yeah.
It is one of those Gulf War,
Yeah.
post 9/11, let's go get him. Yeah, the mutants
Yes.
are the
Yeah.
terrorists. That's all there is to it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, they go down. They definitely go down. Uh,
Yes.
have you ever seen the sequel, the original sequel?
No, no, I
No,
haven't.
neither did I. It looks garbage. It's meant to be bollocks. And
Uh,
then there was a third, The Outpost, which is an
oh,
unofficial
okay.
part
Ah,
three.
well,
Yeah,
I feel that that says all you need to know about the quality.
yeah, absolutely. I've never heard of it before today. But yeah, Wes, he directed that one as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he produced the remakes part one and two.
Yeah, which was
Yeah.
yeah, rewatching it, the remake today, opening
Mm,
credits and
mm,
seeing, the fact that he was so involved in the fact that this movie exists. I'm like, okay, I'm here for that.
mm,
Because it's
mm.
a good movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie. I fuck with Alexandra Aja.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think he's really good. And yeah, once Wes Craven, they made him watch High Tension,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, and said this is the man for the job. And yeah, no, I mostly
Yeah,
concur.
I can see
Mostly
that. I can
concur.
see
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yes, hello, children. Welcome to Evil Popcorn. Dorian's eating a fishbowl,
Hello.
and we are talking about The Hills Have Eyes
It's
because we're
very
at.
healthy.
Oh, it looks good though. It's like a poke bowl.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I fuck with poke
Mm.
bowls. Have you say?
Uh,
We're at tier two, Dorian.
Finally!
Finally,
Yes!
we are here.
Yay, we made it.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell we're going to call it. We'll discover that as we go. Because let's actually,
Mm,
before we get into the
yeah.
film, let's
Yeah, let's have a look at them.
let's actually have a look. I'll bring it up now because it's not. It's a bit more twisted than tier one, but it's actually
Yeah, it's
nothing
kind of, I
crazy.
think, yeah, you could view it as kind of like a gateway tier for actual horrific, fucked up stuff.
Yeah.
In that the first tier
Yeah.
is gateway horror in general, and the second
Okay.
tier is gateway for the actual fucked up stuff
Yeah, I
because they
like that.
are obviously a lot more intense and
Mhm.
violent and the content within them and everything, but they're still, in comparison,
Yeah.
fairly tame.
Yeah, they are. They are compared to where we're going. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're starting tonight with The Hills Have Eyes. So it's the final of our little Craven corner.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't Last House on the Left.
No.
I think we should just do that at some point. Yeah,
Oh
because I'm
yeah,
actually really
absolutely.
keen to talk about that
Yeah.
film now.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That movie's
'Cause-
great.
And yeah, Last House on the I Spit on Your Grave. Let's do I Spit on Your Grave as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. We
I
could do like
what?
a double feature, one
Yeah, that's a
after
good
the other
idea.
for that. Yeah,
That's a great idea. Yeah, Craven double feature, Craven exploitation
yeah.
double feature. Because I want to know more about those films. Absolutely.
Mm.
Considering he didn't want to make them, he made them
Mm.
both.
Yeah.
Last House and then this one for money,
Mm.
pure and
Yeah.
simple. He actually wanted to do his own version of Hansel und Gretel.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know if you knew that. Yeah.
No.
But Peter Locke, the producer of this one
Mm.
and the second one, and I think he is involved in the later ones, said, no, no, no. If you want money, do another horror film like The Last House on the Left. No, I
Yeah.
Spit on Your
Mm.
Grave. Sorry, I Spit on Your Grave.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Craven wanted to be a different type of director once upon a time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he was cornered into doing
Yeah.
horror and then become one of its masters, basically.
Yeah.
In time, whether he wanted to or not. So we're doing The Hills Have Eyes tonight. Then we're doing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yes, which
Yes.
is
Yeah.
a fucked up film.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah, I
still
think-
just
Mm.
after you.
Yeah, Hills Have Eyes perfectly transitions into Texas Chainsaw because they're
Okay.
both 70s. They both have that feel to them
Mhm,
in
mhm.
terms of just visually, because it very much feels like a 70s movie going back and
Absolutely.
rewatching the original Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
And just in terms of like the family and something else, yeah, it's a good one to do next, I reckon.
Yes, because the production designer, can I bring up his name quickly? The production designer for Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the same production designer for this film.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
in the cave scene with Mama and Ruby, they're using
Yeah.
some of the same props, same exact
Oh.
props from the movie. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So it I don't know if it owes a lot, but I think at the least it inadvertently pays a lot of homage to Texas
yeah.
Chainsaw Massacre, because this
Yeah,
film is
definitely.
1977, so it's only a few
Yeah.
years after.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
not surprising
Mm.
at all. Okay, back to the list. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre, yeah, we'll do that one next. That's a good call. Going from left to right, we have one of your favorites, Dorian, Saw, the original Saw.
Yes.
Yeah, which I'm keen to go into.
I love that
definitely.
movie.
Yeah. And let's actually do that first one. So because maybe no. We'll do the full trap breakdown when we do the run through the series. Yeah. We'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of ground to cover. There's so much ground to cover.
Yes. Yes.
Hostel. We're doing Eli Roth's Hostel.
Okay, in that case, yeah, we need to do Saw and then Hostel whenever it is that we end up doing those, because Hostel absolutely, like, you wouldn't have, I feel that you wouldn't have Hostel without Saw. When you think of, 2000s torture porn, they're the two that you think of.
Those two.
So those need to be like in a little group.
Yeah, I concur. I don't know where you put this one. Oh, it's has a relationship to TCM, and that's House of a Thousand Corpses, because that is deliberately paying a homage to.
It is very, very Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, sucking the D
I
off,
forgot
I would
that was
say.
on the list. Oh,
yeah,
I love House of a Thousand Corpses.
So do I. But fucked up film. Well, yeah, sure, but it's fun. There's nothing.
Again, it's a gateway.
It is very gateway.
Thing.
Yeah, this is the fucked up gateway.
Yes.
Because there's the human centipede, and that's camp as it comes.
Oh, absolutely.
As camp as it comes.
Oh.
Rest in peace, Dieter Laser.
Yes.
The most serious film, in my opinion, outside of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like there's Midsommar, or Midsummer, however you want to say it. Yeah. And that is a fucked up gateway movie. That is definitely a fucked up
absolutely.
Gateway movie. Yeah. And so just to get an idea and why we're calling it the fucked up gateway, because in tier 3, so the first 3 films going left to right: Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom, Martyrs, and a Serbian film. Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to having an excuse to rewatch those movies.
So am I. Just low key.
Because they're all so good. I really genuinely enjoyed them.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, sure, let's watch Martyrs for a 5th time. It's fine.
Oh, Martyrs, no problem.
I've seen that one so many times.
No problem with Martyrs. Beautiful film. And yes, all that's involved, I think the intent is profound. Yeah. And just quickly going through the others on this, the actual, fucked up first here. Pink Flamingos.
Oh.
I've never seen it.
Really?
I've never seen this one.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I've seen Desperate Living.
Like there's, yeah.
But not this one.
Like John Waters is iconic. And then like this
course.
movie is absolutely amazing. There's a scene that's right at the end that involves dog poop. Divine eats the dog poop.
I know about that.
How the movie ends. That's real. She is actually eating dog shit. There's also a scene that involves a chicken, and that was actually like, I didn't like it because it was real. Like what happened, you'll know when you get to it. I'm not gonna tell you anything about it, but like that was a real chicken.
Okay.
And it was not fun to watch.
Yeah.
For the rest
Okay.
of the movie,
Sure.
I'm like, I'm here for this. I love this. Yes, fuck yes. It was great. I love John Waters.
I assume I know the answer, but I'll ask anyway, because we have touched on taboos and horror on here. And and Tyler, shout out,
Yeah.
brought it up at work at Evil Corp the other night. Yeah. What was the movie he was talking about? Yeah, Friday the 13th. They killed the snake. Children.
Yeah, that was
I
the
didn't know.
snake that
Yeah.
the snake that they discover in one of the cabins, and they have a freak out about it, and they kill it. They killed it for real when they were filming the movie. That wasn't like a fake snake that they killed. It was real. They really did kill that snake.
And well, one of the other films on the first official fucked up tier does have Cannibal Holocaust.
Yes.
And
yes. That one is infamous for two reasons. The animal death depicted in the movie is real, and then also the fact that people thought that some of the deaths in the movie was real as well. And the director of the movie had to, was taken into court as a result of it, and essentially had to prove, no, this is how that effect was done. These actors were not killed for this movie.
Yeah. And then there's other
outside
things.
of that, I did really like that movie.
I think it's very effective, but it has, but I have issues with it because I went into it deep on another podcast.
Yeah.
There's not only the animal death, there's also the rape of an Indigenous woman.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she is fully raped.
Yeah, the entire premise of the film, it's like, okay, yeah, I know exactly what kind of stuff is going to be happening here.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know what? Like those Indigenous people, good for them. Those college students coming in and just causing a ruckus, they got what was coming to them. That's my take. Honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Diodato did other fucked up things, where they where they're burnt inside their hut, their adobe hut style.
Yeah.
That happened for real. Yeah, the village folk did not know that was going to happen beforehand to get the realistic, authentic reaction, shit like that. The main female lead was made to, strip down and roll around after being yelled at and abused after she said she didn't want to. Yeah, it's a problematic film, definitely.
Yeah.
But my point of the whole question is, animal deaths in movies, not just horror. Is it too much across the line for you?
Yep. I mean, I clearly watch a lot of fucked up stuff, so it just kind of comes with the territory, unfortunately. It shouldn't fucking happen.
No, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't happen.
I concur 100%. Yeah.
Should
I'm
not
all
happen.
for fucked up shit, but consent and animals don't consent to you killing them on film.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but again, like I said, you just have to figure out, like, okay, are you going to say, no, I don't want to watch that kind of like, it comes with the territory. You're going to be, you're intentionally seeking out stuff that is within this category. This stuff is going to be in there in the same way as, especially as we get further down this whole list, unfortunately, things being all kinds of like fucked up and whatever seems to be not so much about like physical violence, and it's more about sexual violence.
Yeah, absolutely.
As in, like, it kind of comes with the territory. And so if you are intentionally delving into those categories and those genres, you need to be aware of the fact that more likely than not, it's it's going to be in there, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can even see this in Apocalypse Now. If you've seen Apocalypse Now, the cow's head that actually gets cut off. That happens to show the insanity and chaos of war. Sometimes it's with intent. But I agree it shouldn't happen. But the point of doing this iceberg is we're just seeing everything that is out there in horror, to critique on it, to talk about it, everything. And this is everything from like the PG films that we've watched already this year, Imaginary, Night Swim, that sort of thing, all up to Vomit, Enema, Ecstasy 1 and 2. And that's a film on the second to last here.
I mean,
that's where we're going.
At the very least for that, you can figure out what it's probably about, what's going to happen in the movie.
Yeah.
There's vomit happening, there's enemas happening, and there's probably sexual content. It's done in a sexual way, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sure. I know what I'm in for.
Yeah. Things are going to get further extreme, and that's why I said on the end of the last episode that the warnings are over, basically. Yeah, you know what you're in for going in. And just touching off on the last films there of the next tier, Shoujo Tsubaki. I have never heard of that.
That's the one, the first one in all of those 3 tiers. The first one that I haven't watched, Shoujo Tsubaki, is also, it's an animated film. I know the general storyline of it. It's animated, it's Japanese. And I'm intentionally holding off on watching it until we actually get to cover it.
An animation.
But, it's animated.
Interesting.
But yeah, so basically for everyone who knows this this iceberg, for tier 1, 2, and 3, I've seen all of them except for Shoujo Tsubaki.
Seriously. Let me just have one quick look at that. It's not Legend of the Overfiend, is it?
No.
Okay, it's not another name for that film. Okay. Because that disturbed people once upon a time. Okay. Interesting. It looks really cute, but really violent at the same time. Okay, that's all I'll look at for now. Okay, Cannibal Holocaust mentioned. Tetsuo the Iron Man. You've seen
yes.
Yes,
I haven't gotten around to seeing the sequel, Body Hammer.
2 sequels.
I haven't gotten around to watching them.
2 sequels,
I haven't gotten around to seeing any of those, but I've seen the original. Fantastic. Loved it.
That's one of it's one of my foundational films back in the 2000s. I watched it 2,000 times easily. I recorded it onto goddamn cassette tape. I had a ghetto blaster, put it near the DVD player. It might have been VHS. Put it to tape. I used to go to sleep listening to that goddamn.
Hell yeah.
No, I fucking love Tetsuo the Iron Man.
That one's
Suicide Club.
Yes, I've seen that one. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, there was a manga first, and then that movie is an adaptation of it. If I recall correctly, it kind of diverges towards in terms of the conclusion. But yeah. Interested in revisiting that one because it's been well over 10 years since I watched that one.
Okay, cool.
So
and the last one is The House That Jack Built, our first Lars von Trier film.
Lars von Trier.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, and I do like this one quite a bit.
I like that one.
Yeah. Matt Dillon when he gets grimy, really cool. Really fucking cool. Children. There's a 1980s exploitation film starring Matt Dillon. It's like called something like The Executioners, the something. I forget the goddamn title. It's about him and his girl, who he basically saves from abusive parents, very natural born killers scenario. And they go off on a murder spree. Again, very natural born killers scenario, but way more violent, way more gritty, way more exploitative. And I have never been able to remember the goddamn name. And I've searched for it forever. So anyone, children, if you know, write us.
What general year?
Between maybe late 70s at the earliest and 1990 at the latest, because I've scoured his filmographies and such. And there is that one with all the stars of that. Is it called The Outsiders?
The Outsiders.
The Outsiders. There's
The Outsiders.
It's not
that's
The
got
Outsiders.
Tom Cruise in it and stuff.
It's not The Outsiders. No. But desperately want to see that film again because it's
Oh,
a great example of Matt Dillon when he gets grimy.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what's coming up. That's what's coming up. All right. So Wes Craven wanted to be an animator before he wanted to be a filmmaker. I found that out today. Did you know that?
Wow.
Yeah, he wanted to be an animator. Yeah. Maybe Hansel and Gretel was going to be an animation. I don't know. But we'll never find out. Now, do you know about the story of Sawney? I think is how it's pronounced. Sawney Bean.
Yes. I have one of those really, really pretty Barnes and Noble edition
Okay.
like books. That hardcover that's this faux leather bound, embossed and
Mm-hmm.
silver gilded edges and a bookmark and all that. I've got Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft, Dracula, and a few others. I've got another one that is like a bunch of like Penny Dreadfuls,
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
that story is in that book.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Because that's the origin
Mm.
story / influence for Papa Jupiter's family. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just quickly here, what is this off /film.com? According to legend, Bean was born in East Lothian, Scotland. However you say that. His father raised him while working as a hedge trimmer and ditch digger. Though the son planned to follow in his father's footsteps for work, Bean ended up with Black Agnes Douglas, a woman who shared his taste for human flesh and carnage. They began living in a cave together near the Galloway coast, which was far away from the world of normal folk, and that allowed for their cannibalistic tendencies to spawn. Whole bunch of other stuff about the story, but that's the general
Yep.
gist. Yeah, which they took for film we are discussing today. Today, The Hills Have Eyes, 1977.
Yes.
Wes Craven. Let me just check where this appears in his filmography. What the hell? That went one too far. Filmography. Okay, so this was the second film. I thought it was. Just wanted to check.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1972. Last House on the Left was the
Mm.
first. Yeah, okay. Okay, Spit on Your Graves later. No, he didn't do I Spit on Your Grave. My apologies. Yeah, it's The Last House on the Left. Okay, so we'll do that one and I Spit on Your Grave. Yeah. Okay, but The Hills Have Eyes was the second one in 1977. Children, I'm as old as this film. Do the maths. Okay, what's your history of this film with The Hills Have Eyes?
I'm not sure. I think it was one that yeah, because when I was first getting into horror properly, so the remake came out in 2006.
Yes.
So I was in high school at that time. I wasn't really like specifically seeking out horror movies at that point in time. So I knew about the remake. I didn't know that at the time. I don't think I knew that it was a remake, but I knew that movie existed. And then I'm pretty sure I ended up watching the remake before I watched the original. Yeah. Because after Wes Craven died, then I just went and watched a shit ton of his movies.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that was when I watched the original. And so, yeah, but yeah, I don't really have like any particular like personal history with it. It was just more heard about, The Hills Have Eyes, around that time period, and everyone's being like, oh my God, this is so fucked up and all that. And it's like, okay.
Yeah,
I
sure.
wasn't watching horror movies at that point in time. Mostly because like I wasn't watching movies on my own. Like if I'm going to see a movie in the cinemas, I was going with friends. If I'm seeing movies like in like a home kind of environment, it would be like over at a friend's place during a sleepover or something like that.
Sure.
And yeah, none of my other friends are really super into horror. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So did horror make you a movie fan in general? What were you watching? Yeah, I'm getting that. I'm getting that idea.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, I
interesting.
developed a much deeper understanding of film and filmmaking and all that kind of stuff
Okay.
after I started getting into horror movies. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Because
Mm,
I was watching before horror, I was watching gangster films, like
yeah.
Goodfellas, Godfathers, all of that sort of thing, Martin
Mm,
Scorsese, Coppola. And I was also watching a lot of art house stuff like Peter
yeah.
Greenaway,
Mm,
Derek Jarman, that sort of
yeah.
thing. But both of those categories have dark
Mm,
examples within them,
yeah.
dark
Yeah.
elements in
Yeah.
each and every film, absolutely. And there were ones that like Cook, Thief, Wife, Lover. Yeah, if you think about the
Oh,
violence in that
yes.
film,
Oh,
yes, and the
God, that movie's
revenge.
fucking beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I grew
Incredible.
up in the age of everyone was into Stallone and Arnie.
Mm,
Yeah, the
yeah.
Rambos
Yeah.
and the Rockies were fucking
Yeah.
everywhere. That's what everyone was into. So of course I watched them. But it was
Mm,
like the first Terminator, which is way
mm.
more a horror film than the
Oh,
second
yeah,
one.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. First Blood, which is
Mm,
a movie about a disgraced Vietnam
yeah.
vet, rather than the bloodthirsty
Yeah.
meathead Rocky became. Those are the ones, and those are the ones that interested me out of the mainstream stuff. And then with the crime and the art house, it kind of led into horror from there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was being exposed to things like the Chucky and the Freddy,
Mm,
but then when I got an idea of not better horror, but different horror with
mm.
more of a budget
Yeah.
and less restrictive, pressures, less studio fuckery, that sort of thing. Not
Mm,
so desperate to make money, but just to be able to make a film.
yeah.
Um, is where I got into, the rest of horror, basically. And also on that note, shout out, rest in peace, Roger Corman. We
Mm,
lost a big
yes.
one. We lost a big one
Yep.
this week. One of the
Yep.
biggest.
Yep.
How would you put him? Like someone
Oh,
said,
God.
goat for making film happen, for just making
Yeah, pretty
film happen.
much. Pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
just a producer of indie films for over
Yes.
flipping 70 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also in America, he was also into Bergman. He was into Godard
Mm,
from the French New Wave. He was into Pasolini, all of that sort of thing. The
mm,
Criterion films. He was the
mm,
one who originally brought those films to America as
mm.
well. So he wasn't just a trash merchant, as some people
Yeah.
considered him. He
No.
also was, he had fine film taste as well, and just wanted all film to be seen everywhere, and
Absolutely. Yeah.
anyone with talent, and he had the best eye for talent, to be given a go. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so definitely shout out him. Definitely
Yeah.
shout out. Rest in peace to
He
Roger
was in
Corman.
his 90s when he died.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
in his 90s. So, it's not
Yeah.
as though, he had a good run.
He had a very good run. He had a very good
So,
run. Yeah. I forget how we got here, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, so your history with that. Yeah, your history with the film.
yeah.
My history with the film, I watched it this week for the first time.
Really?
I've heard about them. I have
Wow.
seen both the remakes. Aja's in the second one. Let's not even
Mm,
mention the second one because it's not.
yeah.
It's a piece of
No,
fucking crap.
no.
The remake is great. I really
Yeah,
like the
it is. It
remake.
is. Yeah.
It's fucking intense.
Yeah.
Aja is intense. He directed High Tension. You may know him
Yes.
from.
Yeah.
He did Crawl, the alligator
Crawl.
film, which I still.
Yeah.
I've heard it's
I
good.
really liked Crawl. Yeah.
I've heard it's good.
I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I
Yeah,
did, but I
yeah.
also like the kind of category you would put Crawl into, which is like kind of similar to the movie Fall.
Okay. Okay.
That kind of people just trapped in this really, it's a situation that is immediately threatening to their life, because of the
Hmm.
elements, or here's an alligator here and stuff like that. And they're trapped there and they need to find a way to get out.
Yeah. Okay.
47 meters down is one. There was one called The Shallows, I think, with Blake Lively. And that one, she's a surfer. It's low tide and she's hanging out on like a reef. And then,
Yeah. Okay.
some tide has come in and basically there's this like beached whale carcass nearby and there's some sharks circling around because here's some food. She can't manage to get back to shore because the sharks are there. If she tries to get near, they'll just be like,
Okay.
hey, there's something,
Okay.
that kind of
Uh-huh.
stuff. I really, really like those kinds of movies. So
Okay.
I ended up really liking Crawl.
Mhm.
Asha also did Horns,
Yeah. Yeah, with
which,
Daniel Radcliffe
yeah,
with Harry
Daniel
Potter.
Radcliffe. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I really, really liked Horns. Horns
Horns was
is
great.
an adaptation of a book by Joe Hill, which is Stephen King's son.
Black Phone Kid.
Yes,
Yeah,
Black Phone.
yeah,
Also
yeah,
did
yeah,
Black
yeah,
Phone.
yeah.
Also, Piranha, the
That's right.
Piranha remake.
That's right.
Just to give you an idea as to the type of movie that is, the sequel to it is called Piranha 3 Double D. It's in 3D, but
I've never
it's
watched
3
any
Double
of these
D.
films.
It's very much Girls Gone Wild, Spring Break kind
Mhm.
of thing, and then Piranhas. It's chaos, and
They're
I've literally
flying.
put no,
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 okay. That's
it's
just the cover I must have
no,
seen or
no.
something, a poster. Okay.
I literally put on the movie Piranha at one point at a party, and I was like, look, it's an hour and a half movie. I'm gonna save you all the boring shit. I skip forward the first hour. I'm like, okay, this is everything that y'all are here to see, and it was just
Okay.
all the carnage. There you go.
I should employ you to
yeah,
show me all these movies like
yeah.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, I still need to watch that one.
Yeah, but I haven't seen that one. No.
Asha apparently also did Mirrors with
Yeah, I
Kiefer
didn't.
Sutherland.
Yeah, that surprised me because I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that
Yeah.
was
That was
lame.
one that took me a long time to get
Yeah,
around to watching.
yeah.
But
Thought it
yeah, I
was
was
very weak.
surprised to see that
Yeah,
he did Mirrors, but okay.
yeah. No one's perfect, I guess. No one's
No,
perfect. But
exactly.
here Atmos. Is it called Atmos? Atmosphere? The space one he did during COVID, where there's the one woman in the space pod in
Um,
space, pretty much the whole movie until the big reveal at the end. I think it's called
don't
Atmos.
know.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one as well. So yeah, great director to do
Oh
the
yeah.
remake, and I had seen those, really liked those. I had always gotten around to
Yeah.
watching this film, but that's why we're doing this iceberg as well, to
Yes.
retouch on these classics, and why I podcast as well, to force myself to watch these things. So I will give my general thoughts on it. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
70s film. Some of the
Yeah,
acting's
yeah.
quite ski
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
to say the least at times. Robbie.
Oh, yeah.
But the intensity is there at
Mm.
points. The griminess is definitely there. The
Yes.
savagery, the viciousness, which is all very much a part of 70s, cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an exploitation / grindhouse type of film.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, no, overall, I liked it. I don't love it. No,
Yeah.
it's not Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, but I'm really glad that I saw it. I had no problems rewatching it, 2 times in
Yeah.
2 days or anything like that. I would watch it again. Yeah, I'll save that. I'll save the rest until we go deeper. Yeah, what are your general thoughts, Dorian, on it?
Yeah, I mean, I really like it. It's very much a 70s movie. You can tell that it's Wes Craven's second movie because it's not as, there's some stuff about it that could be better. I feel that the remake is a little bit more cohesive and works a little bit better. The remake is about,
I prefer it.
Yeah. Yeah, I prefer the remake. The remake is about 20 minutes longer, so it's able to sort of flesh things out a little bit more.
The town. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the remake is still iconic. Sorry, the original is still iconic.
Yes, it is.
If you really like that sort of gritty vibe that Texas Chainsaw Massacre gives in terms of how everything feels, and it just how that exploitation feel to it and all that kind of stuff, then Hills Have Eyes also has that. So yeah, I liked it.
It does. Yeah, out in the desert, very hot. All the cast are uncomfortable, all the crew are uncomfortable.
That I found really interesting was comparing the original versus the remake, in that you have the family who are in the original, they're telling the man at the gas station, why they're here, why they're coming through, and all that kind of stuff. And they're wanting, the reason why they made this detour is because they wanted to check out this silver mine. And he's essentially he's told them, well, there's no reason for you to go up that way. That silver mine's been closed down for years, blah, blah, blah. There's no point for you to go that way. Get back onto the highway and head off to California like you want to do. And they explicitly ignore his directions. And that is what gets them into the situation that they find themselves in. Versus in the remake, where the man at the gas station says, oh, actually, if you're wanting a shortcut, because it's going to be a bit of a long trek for you to get to where you want to go, if you want a shortcut, head through there. He intentionally leads them to get caught up in that situation. Like, there's a pretty massive difference there. And I think that you can read that in terms of like playing with the theme of the film, especially given that the remake, you have this nuclear testing site, and that's why they're mutants and all that kind of stuff, versus the reason why this family is out here in these hills in the original. Like, I think that potentially plays into why, but that's a pretty big contrast there in terms of how this standard American, wholesome American family ends up in the situation. And then also the remake, given that, the reason why these people are the way that they are is because of like nuclear stuff, nuclear testing. It's literally a nuclear family versus a nuclear family.
Yeah.
One figurative, one literal. Just saying.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. I did hear a critique about the remake along those lines, that the original, you've got a stereotypical American family. It's very much an all-American family.
Yes.
And the hillbillies, the cannibals, the mutants, even, if you will, in the hills, that's basically the lower class, the outsiders, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And when it's replaced in the original, that the mutants are just victims of nuclear testing, and are more terrifying, are more gruesome. That it shows that people, and it actually modeled some of their disfigurement of actual disabilities and ailments and such. Yes,
absolutely. Yes.
That it kind of became devoid of any point. It just became a shock fest.
The family in the hills in the original are not, in terms of physical appearance, what you would consider conventional, so to speak. But in comparison to how it is in the remake, it absolutely is people with various different disabilities and, physical differences and all that kind of stuff that real life people have. And unfortunately, in the horror genre, a lot of the time, that is something that is conflated with they are the villain of this, this piece of media, which makes it so much more difficult, and hence, the stigma and difficulties that people with physical disabilities or other physical differences that they face throughout society. It's because of media perpetuating this concept of, well, they're the villains. It's the same way in terms of like the villain character having like some kind of physical, like facial scarring or something like that, and all that kind of stuff. If that is your typical exposure to someone who looks like that, in that they are the villain, they're the bad guy, then if you find yourself in the same space as someone in real life who has something like that going on for them, then there's even if you aren't intentionally having that bias, that is going to come into play. And so that is an issue.
Yeah, it is an issue. It is an issue. I mean, if you consider the Plutos in the two
Yeah,
films, yeah, you know what I
yeah,
mean? The
absolutely, yeah,
contrast
yeah,
sticks out quite a bit.
yeah,
So maybe just try and defend Aja's choices. Then
mm.
it is a 2006 film, so you're
Yeah,
looking at this
exactly,
being
yeah,
made around
yeah,
2003. They
exactly,
would have been making it.
yes,
And a
it's a
couple of years
2000s, yeah,
beforehand, there was
mm.
9/11. Yeah. Where the world
Yes,
was in
yeah,
shock, was in terror, pun
yeah,
intended. And if you look at like German expressionism after World War One, you know what I mean?
yes,
Same
yeah,
sort of thing was going on. It's the way the
absolutely,
world and creators kind of react to this
yeah,
thing. I don't think he was intentionally
no,
saying that outsiders, those with not who
mm.
don't fit into a certain tax bracket, are mutants. No, I don't think
Yeah,
that was his intention. But both films are products of their time. Both films are
absolutely,
definitely products
yeah,
of their time. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so if you've never seen the film or heard about it, The Hills Have Eyes is a 1977 American horror film written, directed, and edited by Wes Craven, produced by Peter Locke, who saw what he did with The Last House on the Left and wanted him to make another horror film. It stars Susan Lanier, Michael Berryman, who plays Pluto, of course, horror
mm.
icon right there, and
Yes,
another horror icon, Dee Wallace, who plays Lynn.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, before Cujo.
yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot,
same.
sorry,
Same. You're right.
I forgot that
Yeah,
she was in this movie
yeah,
until I'm watching it and seeing the opening credits saying Dee Wallace. I'm like, what?
yeah,
She's in this
yeah,
movie?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, she's quite young in
Mm.
comparison to their other more
Yeah,
iconic
yeah,
film roles. Yeah.
yeah,
The film follows the Carters. That's our all-American
yeah,
family, a suburban family
yes.
targeted by a family of cannibal savages after becoming stranded in the Nevada desert. Craven, yep, Craven based the film script on the legend of Scottish cannibal Sawney Bean, which Craven viewed as illustrating how supposedly civilized people could become savage. Other influences on the film include The Grapes of Wrath, John Ford's, Tobe Hooper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, absolutely.
Mhm.
Sorry, I clicked on John Ford. The Hills Have Eyes was shot in the Mojave Desert. The film's crew were initially unenthusiastic about the project, but they became more passionate due to Craven's enthusiasm and came to believe that
Mm.
they were making something special. It earned 25 million at the box office, and it had a
Mm.
budget of 350 to 700,000. So that's actually really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
So he
Mm.
made hits, even though he didn't, even
Oh,
if he didn't want to, he
yeah.
made horror hits. Um, but it spawned a franchise, kind of, but we'll go into that.
Mm.
Uh, but all subsequent films in the series were made with Craven's involvement. That is
Mhm.
true, varying degrees, but it is true. It was released on VHS in 1988, DVD, Blu-ray, blah, blah, blah. Don Peake's score for the film was released. It was a very interesting score
Mm.
and sound design. Reviews for the film were mostly positive, with critics praising its tense narrative and humor, which is true, it does have humor.
Mm.
Some critics have interpreted the film as containing commentary on morality and American politics, and the film has since become a cult classic. Music by Don Peake here, we got into that. Anything else? 90 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Was there any little notes that I wanted to mention before we go into it? Peter Locke. Don't know. I can mention all these as we go through it. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so if you are ready, Dorian, we are at
Yes.
Fred's Oasis. Fred. Now, Fred is
Yes.
before 1980s Friday the 13th. Old
Mm.
man warning the youngins at the
Yeah.
gas station about where they
Yeah.
be heading. Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, Fred's quite a character. He is ranting to a pig in a cage about plans to leave this place. And it's set in the Nevada desert. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Ruby enters and wanting to trade whiskey and radios for food. Ruby is the first of the cannibal family that we meet. And she's not crazy looking. She's not mutated at all.
No.
She's looking a bit, you know, in need of a bath. That's about it.
Yeah. Just the average person you see out in the valley on Saturday night.
Like about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But Ruby wants to get out. Yeah, she asked Fred to take her with him. We automatically like Ruby, you know, we're made to empathize and side with Ruby.
Yeah.
Now both threaten each other, though, with Jupiter's wrath over wanting to leave. Yeah. If either of them if he finds out that either of them want to leave, he's going to mutilate them. He's going to physically destroy them as the nature of the respective threats. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, and then the All-American family arrive. I will just go over the cast quickly here. If I can click the right goddamn button. All right, so we've said that there was Mother, played by Dee Wallace, that is Lynn Wood. The daughter is Brenda Carter, played by Susan Lanier. Robert Houston plays Bobby Carter, that's the son. Have you ever seen Shogun Assassin?
No.
Shogun Assassin is a very cool samurai film, but made into a kind of exploitation film in 1980. It was a huge, sprawling samurai film saga. And then basically this guy here, Bobby Carter, basically remixed it. Yeah, very 1980s hip hop style to make a very cool, dope, ultra violent, samurai film called Shogun Assassin, which the Wu-Tang Clan dedicated a whole album to, called Liquid Swords. And when I found this out, I was like, that was fucking Bobby. Very bizarre, because acting not his forte. Glad he went into directing. Fred is played by John Stedman. Ruby is played by Janus Blythe. Mercury is played by Peter Locke. The producer played Mercury.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, you know, the one who wanted to eat the baby toes for a lark.
Yeah.
Russ Grieve plays Big Bob Carter. That's our dad, our all-American dad. The patriarch. The misogynist, racist fucking.
He's an ex-cop. He's a detective. He was formerly a cop. He's been on the force for however long, but he had to retire early because he's got a bad heart.
He's got a bad heart. And everyone's to blame. Absolutely fucking everyone's to blame. Certainly his poor wife Ethel. Virginia Vincent, probably the best actor out of the lot.
Yeah, she just wants to, you know, like everyone's going off on these harebrained things and who knows what might happen, and she just wants to have a little prayer circle and no one wants anything to do with it.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, fine, we'll hear you out.
Some coleslaw for lunch and dream about California.
Yeah.
Doug Wood, the father, shall we say, is played by Martin Spear.
Oh, Doug.
Yep. Katie, the baby, Brenda Marinoff.
Yeah.
No picture. I hope she's still with us. James Whitworth plays Jupiter. Now, Michael Berryman, of course, plays Pluto. So Jupiter's cannibal dad.
Yeah.
Pluto, cannibal son. Mercury, cannibal son. Mars, played by Lance Gordon, cannibal son. Mama cannibal, played by Cordy Clark.
And for the main poster, if you think of the original Hills Have Eyes, that main poster, the character on that is Michael Berryman.
Yes.
Who is Pluto.
And he shows up in House of a Thousand Corpses,
Yes. Yeah. He's iconic. So do you know about the production history for The Crow?
Not involving him.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, you know, unfortunately, Brandon Lee ended up dying during the production of the film because of some, you know, a gun mishap that happened. Very similar actually to what happened in Rust a few years back.
Yes,
very, very similar,
yes, it
unfortunately.
is.
But
Yeah,
so that is an adaptation of a graphic novel by James O'Barr. And there's a character in that graphic novel that is a skull cowboy. Like it's a cowboy with a skull, and there's some stuff going on with that. And they actually did want to have stuff involving that character in The Crow while they were making it. And it was going to be Michael Berryman playing that character. Unfortunately, because of the untimely death of Brandon Lee, it meant that they had to change the script around. Some of the other supporting characters, you saw Dead Meat talk about it when they did their show on it, in terms of Albrecht and also Sarah. They fleshed out those characters some more to make up for it. But unfortunately, they scrapped that entire storyline with the Skull Cowboy, because at that point in time, they hadn't done anything with it. They hadn't started filming any of that. And it would have been a lot of Brandon Lee with it anyway. So they wouldn't have been able to do it. But that was a potential thing. On Shudder, they have a series that's called Cursed Movies, or Cursed Films, or whatever. In that is very much like Production Tales from Hell from Dead Meat, similar kind of concept. But they have one for The Crow. They go into detail about that. They have stuff about Cannibal Holocaust. They've got Poltergeist, Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
They've even got like, a particularly infamous thing in the Twilight Zone movie. That involved a helicopter crash, which
Oh
is
yeah, that shit. Fuck
they go into that.
Yeah.
So if that's something that you're interested in, absolutely check
Very
out
much
Cursed
so.
Films.
Check it out,
on Shudder.
Thank you, Dorian.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that helicopter shit. Those fucking movie directors and producers then, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things are bad in movies nowadays, but back in the day, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Unions are good.
Yeah. And crazy aside, Herzog, I love him, but he's still walking around starring in Disney properties, and he's straight up killed actors.
My God.
He has straight up killed actors. Yeah.
Like,
Fitzcarraldo, the dragging the boat up the hill. People died doing that. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You get a good enough reputation, enough pull, enough, notoriety, enough money, all that kind of stuff, enough people to vouch for you, you can literally get away with murder.
Yeah, film is big business.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, it is. Okay. But that aside, we cannot forget in the cast the two star players and the two best characters in the film, Fiona and Stryker, better known as Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
My favorites in the whole goddamn thing.
Beast is the real MVP.
Beast is. Yes. Beast is. Yeah.
Everyone, you wouldn't be anywhere if you didn't have Beast with you.
They'd be dead.
Beauty deserved better. She deserved better.
Yes.
But in the same way as a lot of horror movies, the dead animal is the sign that something fucked up is happening here.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
But then Beast, everyone else is useless. Beast did everything.
Beast has taken people out. He is scouting
everyone.
the hills, getting radios back to them. Yeah. He is by far the most proactive.
Yeah, absolutely.
We did mention it before. We are talking about the iceberg, so I do have to say Beauty, they didn't kill Beauty. Let's calm down there. But when Robbie finds Beauty's corpse, it is an actual dead dog that they bought. Yeah. They were actually able to buy a dead dog. Actually, where did they get that from? I mean, at butchers, but whatever.
Yeah, or anywhere that sells, you just find a taxidermy place or something. It's already dead. Yeah. Because all they really need is to just stuff it with enough things. Taxidermy, here you go. And then go to a butcher and just get some entrails and shove it in there.
Which they did, which as you
Yeah.
saw, they did, yes. It was actually a really weird scene when he finds Beauty. Yeah, but we'll get to that. And the audio especially. Yeah, it was an odd little moment. There are others in the franchise. Let's just get this out the way as well before we go into the plot properly. Yes, this did get a sequel, which Wes Craven directed. It was a pure cash-in. I watched a little video article on it. It looks rubbish. There's no point to it whatsoever. They didn't even bring Pluto. Pluto does come back, but he's killed at the start of the movie rather than being the main villain out for revenge for his family. Yeah. It looked complete trash. I doubt I will be watching it unless I'm feeling extra completionist in another pandemic. Touch wood. The Outpost, which I think Craven had some production credits to it. It was an unofficial part 3, but it never turned out that way because it went off in a completely different direction to government scientists in a bunker in the desert. And a whole bunch of mutants in there because of some experiment. And then there's The Hills Have Eyes 1 and 2, the Aja films. Oh no, Aja didn't direct the second one. There was Martin Weiss, but Craven had writing credits on the second one and was hugely behind it as a consultant for the first one. And it says here, number 6, The Hills Have Eyes, the beginning. I haven't heard about this one at all. And there is nothing except a title on IMDb. So whether or not that happened, we do not know. If it does, we'll see. Yeah. And I think that's that for everything. Yep. The movie Blackout, which Barbara Crampton recommended. I'm going to watch that tonight, but I'm getting way off the topic. Okay. Okay. Fred's Oasis. Ruby wants to take her with him. Jupiter's Wrath, All-American Family arrived. They're heading to California, but need to make a stop in the desert first for the silver mine, and that's Bob's idea, I imagine. Yes. Yeah. That sounds like old man dad wanting to go see something no one else cares
about. And
also,
Big Bob and Ethel, it's their silver wedding anniversary.
God, that's cheesy.
Yeah.
Silver mine.
So, they're basically just telling their entire life story to this random person. But,
Yeah.
People actually do that in real life. Like, it sounds weird, but people do.
That's not unrealistic. Yeah, they really do. They really do. I mean, you're a makeup artist. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, and then also, I'm out the front. I'm out the front of Eva Court in the valley.
Yep. So you hear many stories and outbursts. Yeah. But you are right. They are sharing their plans and their life story, if you will, to Fred. And he's telling them the good of, and he's no, it's the remake that he tells them to go, and he said just leave, just go back, don't go further. And that it's a missile testing range or a jet fighter. It's a missile. Yeah.
That's what it is in
that
the
they're
original.
heading into.
In the remake.
Yes.
In the remake, it formerly, I assume, in the 50s. Was used as a nuclear testing site,
which is true.
Drop bombs, which is a thing that happened during that time period. And that's why you have the family living there, looking the way they do. But in the original, it's just that this is like essentially a military zone. You just have like jet planes flying overhead, and they just drop missiles there, just as to train them up and stuff like that. There's nothing out here. There's no reason for you to continue. That silver mine has been dried up for, how many years. There's no reason for you to hang out here. You're better off just heading back, like it's going to be a bit of a trip, but this thing that you came here for is not actually going to work out for you. There's nothing there. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you.
You stupid city folk.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So whilst this
it very much feels like a kind of class thing in that these people who I'm not entirely sure do they ever say where they're coming from?
I don't think so. Not that I remember.
No, I don't think so.
No,
They are going
no.
to California though. They're
Yeah.
going to LA. Yeah, they're very much this, wholesome, all-American family.
Midwest,
And,
probably.
as in, you got, the older parents, one of which is an ex-cop. They have 3 children. One of them, she's married with her husband. They have a baby. And, they're making this way. And, so in terms of class, they're significantly different to this family, this group of people here, and even just Fred.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very different. And so I feel that that's pretty much why they completely disregarded what it was that he told them.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to listen to this, especially if it's Big Bob at the wheel.
Yeah. I mean, Bob
I'm not going to listen to this guy.
Bob's rude
go off and do my own thing.
Bob is rude from the get-go. He's honking the horn, saying, "Get out here, anyone out here." You know what I mean? He's a prick to Fred straight away. So there is that class thing. And also just quickly on the nuclear mutants based from the nuclear testing. It was never disclosed in America whether or not, people and further generations suffered the consequences, any mutations from. They sure did in Chernobyl. Yeah, so there's every chance that they did in America.
Exactly.
So it is drawing from that mythos as well.
Chernobyl, and then also in Hiroshima and Nagasaki as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Fukushima to this day. Yeah.
All those areas where it actually did happen, and we have proof of the impact that it had on people and the generations afterwards. Like, I mean, like, it always just, Hills Have Eyes, the remake, with them, this testing stuff and blah, blah, blah. It just makes me think of that moment in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Because there's a moment there. Yeah, so it's set in the 50s. And there's a point where he's, just in this place in the middle of the desert, and it's just this old town, and he comes into a place looking for help, and there's just all these like mannequins sitting there, and then he realizes, oh no, this is a testing site for like dropping nuclear bombs and stuff. And he climbs into a fridge, which, I mean, at the time those fridge would have been lead lined, let's be real. They would have been. But he climbs into that, closes it up, in that the missile like drops on the location. He's in the fridge goes out and just flying across the place, bouncing and all that. He climbs out and it's fine. It's a bit ridiculous, but it just makes me think of that. It always makes me think of that. Indiana Jones, the goddamn Crystal Skull movie. That movie was
doesn't actually happen like
issues
that,
with that
of
movie.
course.
Oh my
That's
God.
ridiculous. If you we mentioned it before on a previous episode, if you want to see a really grim but very realistic portrayal of actually what happens when a bomb drops in the fallout, Threads. Yeah, that's the one.
God.
That is the
It's
one.
not, it's not really it's not a horror movie.
No, but it's horrifying.
Yeah, it's absolutely
Deeply,
horrifying. It
deeply.
stuck in my head for
Oh yeah,
days
yeah,
afterwards.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my God, like it was so fucked up. And
yeah,
it's not a new movie.
yeah.
Like,
No, it's not.
and yet it's still it still felt
Yeah.
so relevant
Yes.
and so still real. And it just, oh my
Yes.
God. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to watch a movie and have a bad time, check out
Mm.
Threads.
Yeah. If you think Fallout is frightening,
Oh,
hit a load of
that's
threads.
sunshine.
That's
Sunshine and daisies.
yeah. Compared to this,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Now, Bob, the family is being stalked by the cannibals or hillbillies, as I've put them
Yes.
here, and Bobby senses, yeah, because he's taken a look around the back
Mm.
while Bob and Fred natter it up. Yeah, Fred tells them they're heading into the missile testing range, and Fred says, "No, you're an idiot. Don't do that." And as they drive off, stay on the main road. You hear? Stay on the main road.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then Fred's truck explodes behind him. Papa Jupiter is not happy. Yeah, you
Mm.
don't get to see that at this point in the film, but that's
Yeah.
what's happening. Yeah. Station wagon and trailer are seen through binoculars from high up
Mm.
above, and there's comms, radio communication between Pluto and Mama. Yeah, you've got the idea that this family is being stalked by unseen and dangerous assailants at this
Yeah.
stage. But the family doesn't need to worry about that because they're worried about fighter jets not picking up their cars in the jet stream
Yeah.
and
Oh my
throwing them
God.
through the
Oh
goddamn
my
air.
God. That was
Yeah,
insane.
that was pretty fucking insane. I don't know if they just drove into an actual testing range to get these shots. Yeah. Because
My
it's
God.
loud, they're being
Yeah.
thrown around. It's fucking and Bob's just, oh, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah. But men like Bob exist, certainly back
Oh,
then.
yes. Yes.
Certainly back then. But the inevitable happens, and Bob crashes the both car and trailer off the road. Both vehicles are fucked. So there is the makeshift requisite campsite is formed. Bob is an ex-cop with a bad heart, and he starts his rant. He blames N-words and his wife.
Yeah.
It's a 70s film, people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
Exactly.
condone, but it's a 70s film. You're not going to avoid
Yeah.
it. For his bad heart and current stress level, for his whole life, basically, up until this point. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I think it's Mars at this point is seen from up above, and he makes out with Gravelart, muttering, pretty girl, pretty girl. Yeah. So we get some intention of these unseen assailants. Yeah. Yeah, it's gross. It's gross. It's going to get grosser.
Yes.
Now, back at the campsite, Lynn, Barbara and Lynn are talking. Barbara's complaining. She's the teenage girl, and like Bobby, they're playing teenagers, and they're about 27 to 35.
Yeah.
It happened back then.
Yeah.
Yep. Lynn D. Wallace comes across a spider on Stu's jacket inside the trailer. Just wanted to mention this as that was unscripted and not planned. They went in to shoot, and there's a goddamn spider. Keep rolling. Deal with it.
Why not? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which she did.
Film is money.
Yeah, yeah. And this was very much atmos and suspense and character building around this time as well. So it worked very well in with what they wanted to do. Now the men, Bob and Stu, are making walking plans. They're figuring out how to deal with the situation. Yeah, Bob is going to walk back to Fred's Oasis, and Stu's just going to walk the other way to see what's up. And
that's when they have a little prayer circle.
Grandma calls for a prayer circle. Brenda complains. The daughter complains.
Yes.
But they all do. And then we hear more comms from the hillbillies. Easy pickings now because they've split up. Like the classic mistake in any good horror film. Don't split up. All right. Now, Beauty, the only one who's actually really aware that something's up, is spooked by the environment, doing the doggy distress sounds, whilst the women prepare lunch and dream about California. Yeah. So it's making the most of the situation at this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Brenda accidentally lets Beauty out of the trailer, and Beauty
and
bolts
she just
up
takes
the
off.
hills. Yeah, she bolts. Yeah. Dog sense. Robbie pursues, and he is whilst being watched by the hillbillies. Yeah. So they've been stalked this whole time. Beauty surges up the rocky hill and Robbie pursues. Beauty attacks Hillbilly. Family calls out, which is Mars. That's right, it was Mars at this point. Family calls out to Robbie. Mars, unseen from up above, knocks off rocks, and Robbie continues upward to find Beauty. Robbie reaches top of the hill. There is blood on a rock, which Robbie gets on his palm. And then weird metal masking voice audio can be heard. If you don't know, children, when you play a metal records backwards, it has the slow praise Satan voice, which was big around this time. And did you spot that? Did you think that was weird?
Yeah.
I didn't make out anything they were saying.
The subtitles were essentially saying that it was like stay on the main road. That Fred was telling to them. It was essentially that, just reverbing.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, that's what the subtitles was when I was watching it. Yeah.
And there's actually many weird experimentation. There's a lot of weird experimentation with the sound design. The score's the score, but the actual sound design of this to add tension, I actually think is done really well. But yeah, this is in the 70s, you could experiment within these films, which is one of the reasons I do like these films as well. They're not stuck to a stock formula at this stage. Now Robbie finds Beauty disemboweled. And we discussed it. Yes, it was a dead dog, and then just intestines placed on top of Beauty. It was actually a very good looking shot. It was actually the shot of the dog. It was quite disturbing. Mars jumps Robbie from the bushes. Robbie runs and falls down cliff. Falls down cliff, knocks himself out. Cut to nightfall. Okay, family at campsite. Woman radio for help. Pluto responds over his own portable CB radio with obscene panting.
Yeah. He's just breathing heavily on the other end. And then when they're talking about it a little bit later, the mother, Ethel, she was just like, oh no, it was just static. There's no way that it was like an actual person. It was just static.
And Lynn was she saying obscene caller? Because I kept hearing I kept hearing Epstein caller, and I was like, what? No, that's well before what?
My subtitles also said that it was Epstein.
They did.
But in in the remake, it was, like a lot of the remake is very much beat for beat, almost shot for shot for some of the stuff, a lot of the same dialogue as well. But for that, it was just a perverted caller.
Caller. Okay.
It's like, but the way in which that particular line was said in both versions made it feel so casual. Like you are stranded in the middle of nowhere. And you're trying to call someone up on your little CB radio kind of thing, and you hear that on the other end, and you're like, oh yeah, that's fine. It's just some freak on the other side.
Yeah.
What?
No way.
What?
No, they're not realistic reactions. And a lot of the time that's mixed in with some what the fuck acting. Like from Bobby, Jesus, what's going on? What? You gotta, Brenda loses hold of Beast's leash whilst out at night looking for Bobby. Another hillbilly is in the bushes watching, again being stalked the whole time. Bobby and Beast appear from bushes as a fake jump scare. You know what I mean? Yeah, Brenda turns around, scream, bit of a freeze frame, then slowly they walk out. Yeah, fake jump scare. Bob outside, Bob has reached the Fred's Oasis, yeah, at night. And then there was the kettle sound effect. I actually thought that was really cool. Yeah, there was a big metal kettle, tin kettle, whatever, outside the Oasis, and the wind blowing through it made this woo sound effect. Then he put his hand over it, stopped, it came back. It was a nice play between diegetic and non-diegetic sound. Because a few scenes preceding this, that woo actually comes into the score. Yeah, I thought that was very well done. Now Bob finds Fred, the unseen gunman, because Fred was shooting at him.
Yes.
And Bob was firing back. He finds Fred trying to hang himself. Yeah.
Yes.
And Bob says something like, "Oh no, are you not? Oh no, are you okay? Let me help you. Get your goddamn neck out of that rope, you bloody jackass." Yes. No sympathy whatsoever.
Yeah, of course not.
No. Back at the campsite, Robbie can't talk about beauty. Yes, just a pinpoint.
He hasn't said anything yet. He's not really talking much. He's clearly very shell-shocked about everything that he's experienced, but he hasn't told any of the women about it just yet because he doesn't want to freak them out, basically. Like, that's his reason for it. Like, on top of the fact that, like, he's still processing it, he also doesn't want to freak them out.
I was glad that they made Robbie younger, like 16 years old in the remake, because I got this, a young kid not being able to speak about it, that sort of thing. I got his being traumatized by the situation more, and just a better actor in general with that. Yeah. Family retreats inside trailer for the night while Frank breaks down his family history. Yeah. Okay. Now, stop me. Jump in if I don't get this right. So Martha, the wife, gave birth to Jupiter. Yeah. Jupiter was 20 pounds, which is ginormous for a baby. Huge for a baby. I was 10 pounds and I was seen as giant for a baby. Yeah. So this was huge and hairy as a monkey. That's Fred's words, not mine. And also Fred's words came out of Martha sideways.
Damn near almost ripped her apart, which I mean, a regular baby almost does.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
a breached birth at 20 pounds.
Yeah. You would literally be ripped in two. Like Art the Clown with your little hacksaw doing your fun trick. You got nothing on that.
No. Jupiter grew up to be an unusual child, eating chicken heads and setting fires, like to Fred's whole goddamn house and his wife inside. Yeah.
Yes.
So Fred nearly beats him to death with an iron crowbar and then leaves him to die in the desert. Jupiter does not die. I didn't pick up, or I don't even know if it was actually said, Mama, where his wife came from.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She just arrives and they give birth to Pluto, Mars, Mercury, and Ruby. Yeah, that's the family. Yeah. Okay.
I do kind of wish that they continued the like planetary motif with Ruby. Because all the others are the names of planets.
True. Venus, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I liked both Rubies in both remakes. Yeah. I thought that was changed around well, nicely in the second one.
They're both very sympathetic.
Both very sympathetic. And you needed a sympathetic character within the cannibal tribe to show that they're all not just mutants, which I will give to Aja. Aja had Ruby in there. Yeah, Aja did have Ruby. Now, once this is all done, Jupiter is not pleased because he grabs Fred from outside through the window, drags him through the window, beats him, kills him, and then hangs him dead outside in the outhouse. I'm pretty sure it was the toilet, outside toilet. And then Bob discovers him. No, okay. Family's back in trailer. I've got Bobby's acting again. Yeah, I think that was the Jesus, what's going on line. Okay. Hillbillies scanning, Bob running home at night. The hillbillies are hilarious mocking Bob when he runs home at night. Do you remember that? Run, Daddy, run. Where's Mummy? Oh, old man, fall down.
Yeah. And then later on, when they're on the radio and prank them.
Yeah. Yeah, Pluto.
That was so good.
Yeah.
So good. I love that.
Now, Doug arrives home at night with random supplies. Yeah, just all sorts of basically army surplus junk. Yeah. Seems pointless at the time, but it comes into use later on. Absolutely. Our Beast finds Beauty's remains and is crying for, lost friend. That was definitely a sad moment. Ruby and Mother at dinner time at home in the cave. They're eating Beauty, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
because they don't have any food.
No, they don't.
The beginning was Ruby was trying to trade what they had with
whiskey
Fred.
and radios.
Yeah. In order for them to get some more food. And he was like, no, I'm out. I'm not getting involved with this anymore. Anyway, I don't have anything for you. I don't have any food for you guys. So this family, they've just been living out in the desert, in these hills out in the desert, and they're just trying to find whatever food that they can get. And you can only survive on lizards for so long. So here's a dog, hell yeah. And then here's some people.
Yes.
Here's a baby.
And then there's a baby.
Nice and tender with all this
filet
fat
mignon
on it. Oh, delightful.
We're eating good tonight, people.
Like, can you blame them?
You can't blame them, but I will say that the family's not a nice family. Mother is not nice to Ruby. Ruby is chained up outside the cave. She's not even allowed inside the cave. And Ruby has been hearing Beast growl. The dog's ghost is angry. Beast is growling. Like I said, there's another dog. Ruby wants to go inside. She basically says, nope. Mama's a bitch. Mama is an absolute bitch. And what's Papa doing? Papa is preparing Bob for crucifixion, shoving goddamn corn cobs down his throat.
Oh my God. So the thing that after the first time I watched Hills Have Eyes, which was the remake, the one thing that has always stuck out in my mind when I think of the movie or the original, the remake, whatever, has always been the bit when he gets set on fire with him like strung up. Always. Like that is the scene that I'm like, oh, that's the movie that has that in it. So when I was rewatching this and it got to that bit, I'm like, fuck yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Because it's so good because it comes out of nowhere because they use it as a distraction. Yeah. So good.
And visually, it's very, what's the word? Symbolic, ideographic. Yeah. If you like Children of the Corn and you haven't seen this film, watch this film just for this moment with Bob's crucifixion. Absolutely. Because then he's nailing the hands in as well. It's the whole thing. But Doug and Lynn plan to hit the sack because, again, a 70s film, as you pointed out, roving cannibals descending on the place, people going missing, time for a shag in the station wagon.
Of course.
Right next door to the rest of the family. Bobby protests because Bob has not returned, nor Betty, that they should sleep on the floor. Nah, you'll be fine. Shush, child, shush. Adults doing adult things now. Bobby plays classical music instead, and the family relaxes. It would be a lovely little scene, except for the weird zoom in on the baby's face. You remember this shot? And the baby's like, what the fuck are you doing? Get away from me, camera.
There's a lot of strange zooms in this.
There is actually.
Some of the zooms are really, really extreme. Like it's
that's a good point.
Canyon. Like a canyon kind of thing. And the camera's on one side of this canyon. And then it zooms in. And it isn't a slow zoom. It's very quick.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like to
Absolutely.
someone who's on the other side at the bottom of the canyon,
Yeah.
just zooms in on them.
Yeah, yeah. Punch and
Okay,
zoom.
sure.
Definitely.
Sure, Wes.
Um,
Okay. It's his second movie. You're still playing around with stuff. I'll forgive you.
Eric Saarinen is the cinematography's
Oh yeah.
name. What else have they done? Lost in America. Don't know
Mm.
it. Albert Brooks. Do you have an actual yeah, filmography? Anything of note after that? Nope. Because it did interest me, the cinematography, because Wes
Mm.
Craven is in his later films, the cinematography
Mm.
is smooth,
Mm.
gliding
Yeah.
cameras all over the place. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
It's quite
Yeah.
jarring in this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Is Last House like this? Is it jarring with the
I can't
cinematography?
I
Okay.
can't remember.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of shaky handhelds, punch and
Mm.
zooms, that sort of thing
Yeah.
in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it creates a sense of unease, but it's not always
Mm.
seamless, is the thing. It's
Yeah.
definitely not always seamless. Beauty. Sorry, just get back to where I was. Weird zoom on a baby. Lovely birds get it on in the station wagon, whilst Pluto siphons the petrol. Pluto's the
Mm. Yeah.
smartest out of the
Mm.
hillbillies
Yeah.
by far, definitely.
Yeah.
Robbie, sorry, hears Beast outside from inside the trailer. He goes outside only to find the hillbillies mimicking Beast with their voices. I think there was even a moo of a cow thrown in there as well, just to really fuck with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
to
not?
show that we're on top of the situation,
Yeah.
not you. Yeah. Rob has locked himself out of the trailer, but can't bring himself to disturb the lovebirds, so he just sits outside the trailer and waits.
Yeah.
What are you people doing? Cut to Pluto scene inside the trailer. He is raiding the trailer for food and supplies. Yeah. Again, very practical, very smart, very practical.
Yeah.
Rob interrupts the lovebirds and he is rude about needing the keys. But he then breaks down and tells the lovebirds the truth about beauty. Yep. Now Rob is set ablaze. Bob is set ablaze outside the trailer via Pluto's command over radio from inside the trailer whilst accosting Brenda. Yeah. He's on top of Brenda, hand over mouth at this stage. Yeah. And I think he goes, let it go now, something like that. Bob set ablaze outside via an explosive. So they have flippin' timed explosives, these people, these hillbillies, Doug runs in and out of trailer he gets a weapon, I assume, I forget, without seeing Pluto, and tells Brenda to watch the baby. Remember the baby. Family puts Bob out whilst Mars gorges himself inside the trailer with raw mince, grapes, and of course the pet bird.
Oh yeah. He literally
Yeah.
like rips the head off the bird and then just like pours his blood into his mouth as though it's just like a can of soft drink or something.
Yeah.
It's just like
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. It's graphic. It's made even a bit more graphic. That's one of the heightened scenes, heightened repeated beats within the remake. Because you remember what Mars becomes in the remake with his face had a different name, I forget. Lizard or Silver or something. Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Pluto is stopped from raping Brenda by Mars, and then Pluto proceeds to wreck the kitchen in a blind rage. Mars has told him that you need to be a man to do that. Yeah, it's gross. Yeah, Mars is horrible. Mars is just pure id, pure animal impulse and instinct. Mars looks at daughter, then the baby, and says, baby fat, you fat, fat and juicy. And he's got pointed ass canine. All his teeth are pointed canines, all made for ripping flesh, like a small shark mouth, and then he goes, now I wanted to, this was just how I saw it in the sequence in which it was presented, and how the shots were orchestrated, because he's just talking about wanting to eat the daughter, then the baby, and the baby's in the crib, and then he goes on top of Brenda, He goes down on her, and then his shadow blacks out her face.
Yeah.
I don't think he goes to rape her. I think he goes to eat her. What do you reckon? Because in the remake, she's raped.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the Pluto character, which is
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like, I think it's heavily implied that it's rape, but you know, in terms of like symbolism, you can say that, you know, there's something, you know, something there. But regardless, you know, she's clearly suffered some intense trauma because of what happened, you know, Brenda's character for the rest of the film.
Oh yeah, it's traumatizing. I'm not wanting to take away from it that at all.
Regardless of what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I was just
implied. Yeah. It's implied.
I was just wondering what the
intent.
The intent was different during the production compared to how it was received. I was just curious. That's all.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrible, regardless. No doubt. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now Grandma with the acting of That's Not My Bob, I thought was quite good. I thought the hysteria was well shown. Because she's just laughing.
She's just so detached because everything that's happened has just been so fucked up that she just completely detached from reality. And so her husband, who has been strung up, is set on fire, and is now lying there, this charred corpse. She's there saying, like, no, that's not him, that's not my Bob, there's no way that it's him. And then from then on, like, anything that you get from her, like, she's not lucid, which you can't blame her for.
No, I mean, it's 25 years of marriage, and you see him go up like you know, Jesus of the Corn, at the end of it. So Bob heads off into the desert in blind rage, and Bob dies. Yes, that's the first death, isn't it? Outside Beauty. First. And that's a fair way into the film.
Because it's used as a way to draw attention, because it's so over the top and very much attention grabbing. Like, it's clearly done in a way to draw everyone's attention to that, so then the rest of the family can do whatever it is that they're planning on doing.
Act accordingly. It's the old school style of building up suspense before the main action. Definitely. Now there's a fight in the trailer, because we must remember Pluto and Mars are still in there. As the family has returned, Mars is still trying to steal the baby. Grandma is shot by Mars. She tried to fight him off with a broom. did not work. Lynn
if that's all you have available,
sure,
that's all that's with arm's reach.
Lynn is shot dead twice. I don't know if you notice, it's the same exact shot when she was shot dead twice, but I get it. Film's expensive. It works. Mars goes to shoot Brenda. Yes, okay. Mars goes to shoot Brenda, but runs out of bullets. That means he's going to shoot her in the face while she's on her knees. It is, that intense. He declares to a traumatized Brenda that I'll come back for you later, girly. Brenda's just a mess. Brenda's done. For this part of the film, anyway. Doug discovers dead wife Lynn. He then discovers baby daughter has been stolen and mother-in-law is almost dead. It's a lot to take in. And the actor did a fairly good job, he did a fairly good job. Doug runs into the night, cursing the hillbillies and imploring for his baby Catherine's return. Now, Pluto and Mercury rejoice over acquisition of the baby for dinner. That's where Mercury, producer Peter Locke makes the joke about, do you think Jupiter would laugh if I ate his toes like last time? We always laugh at you, it's all happy times in the cannibal family. But Beast takes out Mercury once the other two have left, and then Beast takes the CB radio with him. Good old Beast. Jupiter comes home and scolds Ruby. And then the family gathers for dinner, Thanksgiving turkey. They're all very happy about the baby. Jupiter scolds Mars for not killing them all. Yeah, Jupiter, Mars, and Pluto go off. Grandma is dying inside the trailer. Lights are taken out in the trailer. Bob shoots gun from inside to outside of the trailer. But then, like before with Bob and Beast, it turns out to be Beast arriving with the radio. Doug and Rob hear the hillbillies over the radio. Jupiter is angry over Mercury's death. Jupiter then scolds Bob and his family. Yeah, so he's taken Bob's corpse away, and so they're eating that for dinner. And then there's this really cool monologue where he talks about killing and eating his kids. I will eat your memory. Any trace in history I will devour of you and your family. Yeah, it was a really nicely written wee piece there. And he prepares the tribe for the preemptive strike on the family. And then Jupiter and Pluto descend down the hill towards the trailer. Grandma, this is the next day.
Yeah.
Yep. Grandma is found dead by Brenda, whilst Rob just moans and whinges. Bob is on the radio to apparent help, to the authorities, which turns out to be a mocking Pluto.
Yes.
Pluto, he does it really well. Can you give us your position?
It's so good.
What defensive weapons do you have at this stage?
So they've straight up told them like the number of bullets that they have.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Like what position they're in, how
really
much ammunition they have left, all that kind of stuff. And then the jig is up when they're told, okay, well, it's going to be a while before we're able to get there. But until then, we advise you to stand on your head. And he's like, oh, okay, what's that code for?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't realize initially.
Then he goes, just like, he goes, that stands for stand on your head and stick your thumb up your ass.
Yeah. And that's when they realize, oh, fuck, it's them. We've just given away everything to them.
And Pluto is laughing his ass off.
Yeah.
And Pluto is seen laughing his ass off.
I love that bit.
Yeah. Doug heads up the hill with Beast to find the baby. Pluto and Jupiter continue to descend as Brenda, with Robbie's help, home alones the campsite, and they are doing a Home Alone thing, and well before the movie, of course, but it's all Home Alone. Beast attacks Pluto, and Jupiter comes guns blazing to save the day. Pluto is hurt bad, and Jupiter radios Mars to kill the baby. Okay. Ruby, this is at the campsite. At the cave. Ruby has replaced the baby with a pig. Is that Fred's pig?
Probably
Fred's pig, yeah?
I assume so. Yeah.
Everything's kept within this environment and used within this environment.
Yeah, I assume so.
Ruby has run off with the baby. Doug and Pluto chase after Ruby and the baby. Ruby hands the baby over to Doug. Ruby is on the good side. Brenda and Bob leave Grandma as bait on a chair out in the sun. When this first happened, Dorian, I was like, what the fuck are they doing? What, are they going to set her on fire? Like the tire?
It's great because they clearly don't want to do it. Because
they don't want to do it. No, it's
their mum's corpse.
Yeah. It's
but...
Grandma's corpse. It's messed up.
Yeah.
But it does serve a purpose, absolutely. And now, who was Mum again? There's Ethel Carter. She did a great job of playing dead as well. Yeah, she also did a great job of playing dead.
She's looking very grey.
Yeah. Good makeup. All right, now, Beast finishes off Pluto. Does Pluto die in this film?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, because they brought him back for the second one because he didn't die. Yeah. And I don't actually think we see his corpse, just being mauled by Pluto on a couple of occasions. Yeah. Which is so why they should have had him as the main antagonist, like dedicated to him as the antagonist. You could have had a good film there. But anyway, Jupiter breaches campsite alone and approaches Grandma. Robbie and Brenda, rabbits near Jupiter. Viacar and steel coil. They basically have it wrapped around a disused car, but the wheel's still spinning. So when the motor goes,
Yep.
it spins the steel coil to rabbits near Jupiter. Yeah. Bobby and Brenda rabbits near Jupiter. Blah blah blah. Gimmick breaks, and Jupiter is just more pissed off. Okay. Jupiter opens door to gas field match / door trigger trailer, and he and it explode in a ball of flame. Yeah. Jupiter comes back one more time. Because of course he does. It's a horror film.
Yeah.
He is then
They
axed
gotta
by
come back for one last scare.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Wes Craven. He is axed by Brenda and then shot by Bobby. Doug and Ruby are chased. Meanwhile, Doug and Ruby are chased up the hill by Mars. Ruby takes Baby as Doug diverts his direction, goes off in the other direction. Doug and Mars fight, with Doug rocking Mars in the head a couple of times, literally throwing rocks at his head. Then Doug end up trapped by a rattlesnake and Mars. Ruby comes onto the scene. She annoys Mars, says, take me instead. Mars chases her instead of Doug. Doug runs after them, catches up, and fights Mars once again. This is when Ruby wrangles Rattlesnake and bites Mars with it as he and Doug fight viciously. Jesus Christ. Now, was it Peter Locke? I did actually have this one down.
Peter Locke is Mercury.
Peter Locke, the producer. Ruby didn't want to do it. Peter Locke had to do it first. Because the snake did get away at one point as well. The snake wasn't happy. So it was a bit jittery. So Ruby didn't want to bar with it, but Peter Locke did it and showed that it was perfectly safe. So good on Peter Locke for doing that. Absolutely. As the snake slithers off, Doug finishes off Mars with Mars's hunting knife, and Ruby cries for Mars's death, but realizes that it does have to happen. That's right. This film ends abruptly.
Yeah, it does.
Because that's it. Background goes blood red with Doug standing screen left in formal framing. Credits. Yeah. It's
Doug
basically survive, and when you've survived, end. Yeah. Please.
Doug has a very interesting character arc in this film.
Okay.
In Carol J. Clover's Men, Women and Chainsaws, she goes into Hills Have Eyes and discusses it some more in that. I look forward to reading it. Family, and especially Doug's character. He's very pathetic towards the beginning of the film, especially in comparison to Big Bob. They have, some antagonistic, they aren't really getting on very well because they're both very, very different people. Big Bob is, very much a stereotypical patriarch of the family and, very masculine and all that kind of stuff in comparison to the kind of person that Doug is. And then over the course of it, Doug ultimately
I didn't think about that, but you're right.
Steps up to protect his family, to save his infant daughter, and then ultimately he ends up becoming just as violent as this other family are.
Which was Craven's intention, to show people like Doug can become like the hillbillies. And the hillbillies, as you pointed out, their family dynamics are not great, but they were doing it for survival. They were eating people from survival, for survival. Because Jupiter just grew up different. You know what I mean? Jupiter was just different as a kid. And I bet Fred wasn't a great father.
Yeah, exactly.
Things would have led to the chicken heads and the setting of fires. I reckon. So that actually shows that the point, the intention actually came across and it worked. Cool. Nice work, Duran. Thank you. That's why you're on the pod. It's a good film. It's not perfect by any means. It's a second film during the 70s of someone who didn't even want to make a horror film, ended up making another iconic horror film on his way to becoming a master. definitely. And Craven's not even a horror fan at this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't, to this day, he doesn't even really like violent films. Well, to this day, rest in peace, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very interesting, his lineage.
Mm.
I hope he realizes that he brought a lot of people a lot of joy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am glad that, because there is some humor in this film, and I am glad that he
Definitely.
was able to explore his more humorous side in later films.
Yeah.
Scream, especially, because with
Yeah.
Scream and Freddy's New Nightmare,
Yeah.
he was able to explore the meta nature of horror. Yeah, what it does to people, how people relate through horror, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think he really was able to come into his own later on with the Scream films. Really, that was really
Yeah.
his franchise. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. But it's been great to go back and watch this film, and I give it a very satisfying 3 out of 5. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah.
What about you,
Yeah.
Dorian?
I gave it a 3 out of 5 as well.
Yeah, gave it a 3. Yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, cool, cool. Yeah, so we're going to stick to with the 70s, with the the hillbillies, so to speak,
Yes.
with the grimy nature of everything, with the Texas Chainsaw
Yes.
Massacre, where all this
Oh,
began, where it
yes.
all began. Modern horror, I would argue,
Yeah.
fucking began. Yeah, yeah. No, very cool, very cool. Um, Before we depart, did you have anything you've been watching?
Um,
Content-wise, horror, could be
Not
movies
a
or
whole
whatever
heap. Yeah, I haven't watched a
that
whole
you.
heap. I did watch The Coffee Table,
Oh yeah, yeah,
which is one
and
that
I
I've
haven't
seen
seen
talked
it.
about
Yeah,
a lot.
most disturbing horror,
Yeah,
comedy
yeah.
of all time.
Okay.
Comedy of all time. Go for it.
In terms of being comedy, if you are fucked in the head, then you will think it's comedy.
Okay, yeah, one of them.
But it kind of have you seen Hitchcock's Rope?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So there's a certain aspect to it that reminds me of that. I don't want to get too far into The Coffee Table because I feel that if you know too much about it, it's going to
Yeah,
ruin
no,
it.
no. I'm gonna watch it
Um,
tonight. That's what I'm watching
yeah,
tonight.
it's a Spanish movie. And it's oh God, like there's some dramatic irony happening in it that is like actually fucking devastating. Like,
Okay,
you have like two characters in separate scenes. One of them, their emotions versus the emotions of the other character in the other scene, entirely different levels, and they're talking about the same thing, and it's just like, oh my God. And it's just
shit. Okay.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed
I'm
it
gonna watch it.
because
Those are the movies
I
that
like that kind of
actually mess
movie.
me up, though. They are the movies
Yeah.
that
Like it
actually
isn't,
mess me
yeah,
up. Yeah.
it isn't something that's actually going to mess you up,
Okay.
but the inciting incident
Okay.
is incredibly fucked up, incredibly dark.
Interesting.
Like, holy shit.
Okay.
When it happens, you'll be like, I can't believe that they went there.
Interesting.
But yeah, but overall, it isn't like a really like dark, fucked up horror movie. It's more the premise and concept is fucked up and what this character is trying, and just yeah. I really enjoyed
Okay.
it.
Okay.
It's
Of
because
course.
it was like just watching this character try to like keep everything together and it just
Okay.
being in this impossible situation that's just
Interesting. All right, cool. I'll go
yeah.
with that recommendation.
Yes.
Talking about other fucked up shows, it's Coffee Table's a movie. This is a show. Fucked up content, for want of a better word. Have you seen Baby Reindeer?
I haven't yet.
Okay, I've seen it. Yes, I won't go
Yeah.
into it too much. Yeah, it shows how both characters are not good people.
Yeah.
Damaged, yes, but there's a limit to what your damage allows you to get away with, and
Oh,
they
yeah,
go
yeah.
well beyond that limit,
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not really buying, oh, they're both damaged. I feel sorry for both of them. Nah, they're both
Yeah.
both very
Exactly.
damaged.
Yeah.
But I
It isn't a free
myself
pass. Yeah.
myself and others, many others, most
Yeah,
people are damaged.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
do that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not a
but
free pass to treat people like
no,
shit.
It's not. But saying that, if you like Fleabag, you'll definitely enjoy
Mm,
it. It's
mm,
fucking much darker than
yeah.
Fleabag. It does not have the levity whatsoever
Oh,
of that of it whatsoever. But it's just a really good British drama with very fucked
mm,
up elements in it. No, it was very
yeah.
good. It was very good. I definitely rate it and I definitely recommend it. I'll just bring up my other list here. Is there anything else?
Not really.
Okay, because I saw some stuff at the movies.
Why
I
do
saw.
that? I'll be back in a bit.
Okay, all right, I'll keep it going. It's okay.
Continue.
Yep, all right.
I'll return soon.
I will talk about Fallout. Yes, all right. Yeah, Fallout. It's really good. It's really good. I haven't played the game there, Children of the Popcorn, but I wanted to give it a go because the aesthetics of the game always interested me. And I've been on a kind of post-apocalyptic bender of late with these Hills Have Eyes movies because I'm watching Fallout. Well, I finished Fallout. Definitely recommend it. Horrifying whilst also being bright, colorful, and fun. I've started up The Last of Us because of Fallout. Episode 3, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Dude from Parks and Rec, the manly guy, plays a gay character. The relationship, beautiful. One of the best episodes of TV I have ever seen. And yes, I'm making my way through The Last of Us. And yeah, and I've been watching Hills Have Eyes, that and the remake. What else have I watched this month while I'm here that I haven't already talked to you all about? Human Centipede, watch that again. Working on a character for Evil Corp. Yusuf Hater. Yeah, rest in peace, Dieter Laser. Great campy film. Still very sad, very depressing, but very funny though. Didn't realize actually how goddamn funny it actually is. Yeah, Abigail's has come to streaming, so I watched that. Is it good? It's fine. It's fun. It's definitely not great. It's not the new Lost Boys or anything like that. I think that's a wild over exaggeration. I think it actually could have helped if we didn't know Abigail was a vampire before going in. But that's that whole marketing discussion regarding trailers, etc. That's its whole kettle of fish. But for this film, yeah, I think it could have done without that. And yeah, when Dorian returns, I saw Tarot. Hmm. And yeah, that's the one I want to talk to her about. And I tried to watch The Tunnel last night, but fell asleep. So I may watch that tonight, or I may watch The Coffee Table instead. The Strangers Part 1. Okay. Will I go see The Strangers Part 1? Hmm. Dorian, are you going to
Yes.
are you going to go watch The Strangers Part 1? Because it's out. It's the
Um,
latest, it's the new one that's out here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia.
yeah. Uh, if my schedule allows for it, then I will.
Okay.
It's
Um,
always such a pain in the ass trying to go and see movies in cinemas.
yeah, it is. It is.
So,
Are you a Strangers fan? Sorry
I
if
mean,
I've already mentioned.
I've seen Strangers and Strangers Pray at Night.
No,
So,
we talked about this because one was 70s, one was 80s. Yeah.
yes.
And as I mentioned, I'm a big fan of part 1. Part 2 was pretty damn
Mm,
good as well, but
yeah,
part
yeah.
1 absolutely
Part
loved.
one, yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Home
Yeah,
invasion.
spooky masterpiece in my
Yeah.
opinion. The new one, from every single reviewer and critic,
Mm.
have said it's the same fucking movie but worse, just
Oh
not done
God.
anywhere as good. And
Okay.
everyone is saying, what's the goddamn point? And you better
Mm.
have goddamn like
Yeah.
Shamalama Ding Dong
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
on steroids,
Yeah.
twists and revelations for
I
the
mean,
next 2 films. Yeah.
yeah, if that's what people are saying for it, like given the like I haven't watched a trailer or anything. I've only seen just like promotional photos and stuff like that for it. Yeah, that's what it looks like in terms of the promos. It looks
It
like the
really,
same movie,
yeah,
but a little bit different.
I know. And
So,
I was trying to be hopeful and let the reviewers say
Yeah.
something different. No, that was just the
Mm.
trailer. No, that is the trailer. And in the trailer, they say they don't say, what do they say in the original? Because you're here,
Yeah, because you are home. Yeah.
because you are home. And the remake, they say because you're here. That's right. Even though it's not meant to be a remake, even though that's what it is. So they spoiled that. That's the whole drive, the impetus
Yeah.
of the original
Like
Strangers.
that's
It's
the
just that
reason why.
cruelly random.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the reason why that movie was so effective. Was
Yes,
because when
precisely.
they finally were able to ask them, why are
What's
you
the
doing
motivation?
this?
Yeah.
It's just because you are
The
home.
lols.
Yeah.
Purely
Yeah.
for the fucking
That's
lols.
like Speak No Evil. For that, like, at the end of that one, why are you doing this? Yeah, because you let us.
Okay.
Which is like the point of the entire movie.
Okay.
In that, like, the whole theme of that movie is just you're too polite, you're feeling too polite and a little bit too like socially anxious to actually make a point of it if someone is crossing a boundary kind of thing.
Interesting. Okay.
And then so eventually it gets to the point where they end up doing some really fucked up stuff and they say, yeah, we're doing it because you fucking let us, dude. Like all this other stuff that we've been doing to you over the course of this entire movie.
Okay.
And you let us get away with it.
Yeah.
We've been pushing your buttons this entire fucking time, and you were too polite to say anything.
That's interesting.
So.
Okay. And that's Danish, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the one that's getting American remake.
Yeah.
Which I'm interested to see how that's going to play out, like how that's going to go.
They've got to change it up somehow. You got to make it about American polite society as opposed to Danish, because there's a whole bunch of cultural norms and values.
That's what I figured. Yeah,
that are mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
We'll see. So I'm not. I will wait till The Strangers comes on streaming and there's nothing else to watch, basically, after those reviews. And another movie that I don't recommend, which I did go see at the cinemas, is I Saw Tarot yesterday.
No. Yeah,
I had time to kill.
Nothing. I've only heard bad things about it.
Yeah, it ain't good.
Like, yeah,
no.
a few weeks ago at Evil Corp, like in the makeup room, like a few people had gone and seen it, and they were like, "No,
do you remember Hunter's
Hunter was like, "No, that was
a fucking piece of shit." And it is. The characters are so stock; it's sickening.
Yeah. I'll watch it when it's on streaming.
Watch it. The tarot.
And if I feel like just wasting time.
We don't see enough of the tarot characters, the figures, when they come to life, but when they do, it is cool. It is cool.
Yeah.
And the astrologer / witch that put it all together, she's done well.
Yeah.
She is. There's about 2 minutes in the film out of 90 that are great.
I've seen some Letterboxd reviews basically saying that it's like Final Destination, but shit.
Yeah.
In that, here's this premonition of your demise.
And the Final Destination takes away from the whole fate versus free will based on the arcana and the law of the arcana of the tarot. It doesn't work. It's fucking stupid.
I mean, speaking of Final Destination,
streaming.
There's a new one coming out at some point.
There is a new one coming out. Yeah,
I'm so pumped for that. I love those movies.
I did until it got to
the fourth one.
That's the 3D one, yeah. Because I turned that shit off. That was bollocks.
I highly recommend the fifth one though.
Okay, I'll go back because I did like it up to that point. I did like it up to that point.
So the fifth one, once you get to the end of the fifth one, you're gonna just be like, oh, okay, this movie actually is really fucking cool.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say why because that's a massive spoiler. But the fifth one's actually really fucking cool. But the fourth one is the worst one. That was a 3D one.
Okay. Yeah, no, I have no intention of finishing it. I can't stand that 3D stuff. And and when death itself was undoing screws, not just mysteriously moving stuff, but undoing fucking screws.
Look, for me, the Final Destination movies are kind of like the Saw movies in that they're absolutely ridiculous. I'm here watching specifically to see the ridiculous ways in which people are dying this time around.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting a masterpiece cinema, you know. That's what
No.
Final Destination is for me.
Yeah. Saying that
So
though,
the end of the fifth one blew my fucking mind.
Okay. Saying that though, the setup for the the road crash scene, the road pile up, the highway
In the
pile up.
second one, that's the second one, yeah. With
Yeah,
the logs.
that one. Yeah,
That's
that is one
iconic.
of the best death scenes of all time in a movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is fucking great.
Yeah.
I still when I'm in a car and there's a big truck with logs on it behind me or something that can fall off and fly through the window, I'm still like watching it intently so it doesn't happen, willing it not to happen. Yeah. Which makes for a great horror movie scene. It shows that it's a great.
And then also like
scene.
Tony Todd. Tony Todd's in a shit ton of those.
Yeah. Is he in the fifth?
He's incredible in that. I don't remember.
I've heard he's like rumored to come back for 6. He's rumored to come back for 6.
Yeah, he's the one that's like telling them all about like death and death's plan and and the first movie, Devon Sawa is the main character. Good old Devon Sawa.
Yeah, no, they're cool. They're fun, like the urban legends.
They're fun.
They are fun, like the urban legends. Yeah.
Urban Legend 3 is not worth your time. But 1 and 2 is really cool.
1 and 2.
For Urban
1 and
Legend.
2 are fun. Yeah.
The second one, it's film school. And the main character, she's like, it's like, you know, the final project for, you know, their entire degree or whatever, working on this. So it's very, very, very film school.
Yeah, it is.
So so you absolutely need to revisit Urban Legend.
Yeah.
Even if it's just, you know, just for Robert Englund and Brad Dourif in the first film. And then for just the general setting for the second film.
Yeah.
And I'll watch nothing else.
I'll watch that in Scream 2 for film school as well. Just for the dialogue. Yeah, absolutely. I can't think of any other horror news at the moment that we haven't already covered. But I just wanted to bring up what we've watched in any horror news on a kind of episodic basis rather than the monthly thing. I think that works better. And if you really want to keep up with everything, Dead Meat presents. And yes, Scream Dreams. Check out the latest one. It has an interview with Barbara Crampton. Queen, absolute queen, such a cool woman. Definitely. It's a shame Reanimators aren't on this list. Because I really want to rewatch those. But of course, I just can of my own accord. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre next week.
Yes.
I look forward to that one. That's a biggie. That is a fucking biggie. Tobe Hooper, madman, absolute madman, genius, but a madman. His cast has finally forgiven him after 20 plus years for what he put people through in that film.
My God.
Cool. Any last words there, Dorian? No. Me neither, except for this has been Dorian and Mr. Popcorn for Evil Popcorn, keeping it bloody. Peace. Whoa.